I think I want to watch this one first. A serious talk about Apex Legends. So if you don't know His Watson is an Apex streamer who kind of popped off being like rank 1, making rank 1 like pushes, and then there was like a whole thing where like him and Hal were having a race for rank 1, and it was a huge deal. He like blew up over it. If you haven't seen, like his videos get like millions of views, like literally millions of views on Apex videos. He made a video that is serious talk about Apex Legends, and the reason why this is a big deal to me as an outsider of Apex is there's a few big names in the Apex community. There's a few, like, I'm not gonna know all of them off the top of my head, but like I think of like Hal, I think of His Watson, I think of like Sweet. There's a lot of people, right? I'm probably leaving people out, Lulu. And it's like if they made a video that it's like, we got a problem over here, it's kind of like a big deal because they don't really go out of their way to do stuff like that. And I've heard it's been in decline. So let's see what's going on.
As I'm sure we're all aware, Apex Legends has had it quite rough the past couple of years. Player counts have been steadily declining for
Yeah, so this is kind of what I was alluding to just now a little bit. I might be even covering the top one. I'll disappear for a sec. You see all of these benchmarks that are here. Those are like the starts of new seasons, and it's like even though the start of a new season creates a big hype moment, and then it obviously dies down. That's how like games normally work, right? But the jumps are getting much smaller. It's like Seagull's State of Overwatch video. Kind of, but in reverse, because Seagull's State of Overwatch video 2020 was a positive video about the game. I assume this is not a positive video about the game, but you're not wrong.
For years, and everyone is throwing fingers different directions. So I wanted to talk about my experience playing the game.
My brother, why are you holding... Wait, is it even plugged in?
I have stopped playing.
This is just so funny.
Why I don't plan to play hardly at all going forward. I've played this game for 4 years, and I've been every type of player. I've played it casually for a while with friends, played ranked casually, competed at the highest level, and played ranked professionally. So I've had a mix of it just being my hobby and being a full-time job. I've played this game every way possible. I've seen it from every angle. And as a pro player and streamer, I've also heard lots of insider information and schemes or secrets or whatever you want to call them, which I'll get into later. And spoiler,
wait, is he gonna drop juice?
Ultimately, the reason I gave up on the game. So I'm not going to start from the beginning. It's a live service game, and the current version is all that matters. I will frequently bring up anecdotes from the past, but only if I feel as though they are relevant to why the game is currently the way it is. Let's start with what has become the
Why is swing music playing? Don't you dare disrespect the Naruto music and say swing music. That is Naruto. Put some respect on it.
The game has fallen to such a low, and I'll use an example. Take Skyrim. It is one of the best-selling games of all time, and people still play it to this day over 10 years later. However, there are also tons of people who don't like Skyrim, and Skyrim doesn't care if you don't.
Wait, do you think my YouTube VOD's gonna get DMCA'd for Naruto music? Ah, shit.
Like it. If you don't like open world fantasy vibe, that's fine. You can go play something else. It's not trying to appease everyone. Apex Legends, however, constantly flips back and forth between what audience it is trying to capture, and while doing so, it loses both of them. Live service games tend to either go after one audience.
No, this video isn't claim. I edited it. You're good. Wait, you edited this video? Wait, that's kind of fucking awesome.
Competitive-minded people who like to try being the best or just want to scratch a competitive itch, or the casual audience who don't really have any allegiance to the game whatsoever and will just jump around to whatever they think is fun or looks like it will be fun. Fortnite is a great example. They have literally thousands of game modes for people to choose from, and are...
Before he gets into it, just so you know, there's no... Yeah, I'm his editor. I'm in the description. I'm checking. Yep, seems good. Checks out. Just so, you know, before they get into it, so they don't think I'm like just agreeing to agree. A lot of live service games literally live and die by hype cycles, right? Like the way the game is supposed to be played is you come back for new content, you play for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you go play something else. That is literally the reality. Like if you play just that game all day, every day, you're gonna fucking hate it. That's just the reality of the situation. And so all these games are trying to live and die by these hype cycles. But the problem is, though, they have to always keep one-upping themselves. And do they keep one-upping themselves? A lot of times the answer is no.
constantly adding in new stuff to keep people interested. The competitive scene in Fortnite, while large and actively supported by the developers, is really just more of an arm or leg to the game, whereas in a game like CSGO, competitive is the head and the torso. How does this relate to Apex Legends?
True.
Well, I have 3 examples which I'll be talking about. Let's start with the second worst one in my opinion. Engagement optimized matchmaking in public matches. EOMM for short basically throws skill-based matchmaking out the window and attempts to try and choose when you win and when you lose to try and trick you into playing longer. For as long as I can remember, Apex Legends does not care about putting you with your skill group, unlike almost every other live service game. You'll hear
So, fun fact as an outsider, something I know about Apex. Back in the day, they used to, when you played ranked, would try to match everybody in the lobby close to each other. So like, for example, let's say you're gold and the lobby's plat. They might give you like a high plat or even maybe a low diamond player to try to even out your squad with everybody else. But people hated it so much because they would either say like, oh my God, I have she shitters on my team, that they just said, fuck it, we'll give everyone the gold. Like everyone will be the same rank in every squad. And so you have like some lobbies that have like, you know, like low diamond players. And then you also have a team of just low gold players and they're all solo queue because it tries to like keep them, like they try to like not let people think like, oh, you know, my teammate's fucking ass. Like, why is it giving me this?
Constant complaints.
Very weird.
Players saying they are solo queuing and
also there's the whole buckets thing, but like
3 stack of people clearly.
Sorry, let me back up again.
You with your skill group, unlike almost every other live service game. You'll hear constant complaints from casual players saying they are solo queuing and dying to a 3 stack of people clearly way better than them, and it turns them away from the game. Well, that's because of EOMM. I'm a very good player. I should not be in lobbies with noobs, and we can all agree on that. However, if I take, say, a 3 to 4 day break from pubs, not even the game, just the pub playlist, I will 100% be put into a match with people who are nowhere close to my
Wait, I didn't know that.
After about 1 to 2 hours of me absolutely steamrolling people, I will then suddenly have my matchmaking time quadrupled and will even get skipped very often in the queue. These games are filled with nothing but sweats, and the games will stay that way until I take another 3 to 4 day break from pubs. I've seen this play out numerous times.
Really?
And when someone told me I was wrong, I decided to go play a pub game just to check, and I literally almost broke at the time what was the damage world record. Every person I shot at looked like literal bots. And I can guarantee you, if I played another hour or so, I would have went right back to the sweaty lobbies and I would have been stuck there. With this system, both good and bad players who want a casual experience are frustrated. Noobs.
Yes. And you know what the thing is? You can't even have a productive conversation because a lot of times if you're a good player or a good gamer, people will look at you like, well, you just want to shit on noobs. No. No, you don't. That is not what they always want to do.
Are constantly getting farmed, and good players are forced to play in the sweatiest lobbies possible until they quite literally stop playing the game and come back later. Skill-based matchmaking isn't bad for gaming. Engagement optimized matchmaking is bad for gaming. EA has a patent for it and uses it in what I assume is all of their competitive games. Let's move on to example number 2. This will be infamous for veteran players, but for those who didn't play Apex, oh boy, you're in for a ride. The transition from Season 12 to Season 13 was one of the most poorly handled updates in the history of gaming, in my opinion.
Which one was that?
Season 12 turned the very popular ranked playlist from semi-competitive to a participation award and ruined all semblance of competitiveness in this game. If you were an Apex Legends player in Season 12, there was not even a remotely competitive game mode that you can play, which is fine. That's not inherently bad if you're a casual-centric game. Well,
was that the season everyone was masters? Like literally everyone?
It was like this for 90 days and essentially alienated any player who wanted to play competitively. All right, cool. So we're doing a casual focus game with lots of releases, and that's the strategy. Well, Season 13 ended up being what was unanimously considered the most competitive the game has ever been. The competitive players that were left rejoiced as they finally had the mode they waited 13 seasons for. Apex pivoted to being an ultra-competitive game, and the casual community became frustrated. What happened?
Wait, what? Hang on. I might be stupid. I don't understand what you just said. I'm gonna back up.
Apparently bad if you're a casual game mode to a participant of the most poorly handled updates from Season 12 to Season 13.
Season 12 to Season 13.
The most poorly handled updates in the history of gaming, in my opinion. Let me lay it out for you. Season 12 turned the very popular ranked playlist from semi-competitive to a participation award and ruined all semblance of competitiveness in this game. If you were an Apex Legends player in Season 12, there was not even a remotely competitive game mode that you can play, which is fine. That's not inherently bad if you're a casual-centric game. Well, it was like this for 90 days, and essentially
so, oh, I remember this. Okay, so they went from super casual, like the game was like normal, then they hyper competitive, jacked it up. People freaked out, didn't want to, like casual players didn't want to play it, and then they killed that system off and then never went back. I vaguely remember this.
Alienated any player who wanted to play competitively. All right, cool. So we're doing a casual focus game with lots of releases, and that's the strategy. Well, Season 13 ended up being what was unanimously considered the most competitive the game has ever been. The competitive players that were left rejoiced as they finally had the mode they waited 13 seasons for. Apex pivoted to being an ultra-competitive game, and the casual community became frustrated. What happened to our casual experience? The casual audience was then alienated. This cycle has happened countless times in Apex's history, but Season 12 to 13 was by far the worst. This completely removes the identity of the game. When people load up Minecraft, for example, they know what they're getting. When people sit down at a chessboard even, they know what they're getting. You don't know what's going to happen when you load up Apex Legends month to month.
Sounds like Overwatch. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, actually. But you know what's funny? Overwatch keeps actually doing the opposite. Once everyone settles into one side, like, for example, back in the day, everyone wanted it to be a competitive game, and it was not balanced competitively. It was balanced casually. Nobody wants to admit it, but it was. And then eventually, once like Overwatch League came out, they had to start balancing it more competitively. But then they didn't want to go all in. There was lines that they didn't want to cross. Like the whole Brig thing was that, right? And then going into Overwatch 2, the game was more casual again. It felt more casual. And myself and many others were like, yeah, just play the game casually. That's the best way to play Overwatch. And then Overwatch pivoted, and they wanted the game to be hyper competitive again in like Season 9. Actually, maybe it might have even been before Season 9. So also, by the way, thank you the Prime. I appreciate it. Might have been before Season 9. And so when they pivoted really hard, casual players feel like the game isn't for them anymore. But competitive players don't feel like it's for them either, because they keep buffing and nerfing the same stupid shit and forcing it over and over. It's always the Orisa, Hog, Mauga, trilogy of bullshit, right? And they just go off of win rates and trying to like min-max like small things. It just pisses people off. It pisses them off so much. And so nobody wins in the end.
A month. The developers just can't make up their mind, and it pushes away everyone to games where they know they'll get what they're coming there for. Example number 3, current Apex Legends. It's in the worst state it's ever been. We're currently in the part of the cycle where the game is just absolutely not competitive in the slightest. Pro teams are dropping 40 kill games consistently, and everyone is getting their participation awards for ranked. So competitive players have nothing to play because Apex isn't scratching that itch for them. So that's a problem. But here's the second problem. Apex isn't releasing any content whatsoever to keep its casual audience intact. We're getting our 4th year of Winter Express game mode with barely any changes to anything else, while other gaming studios are releasing content at breakneck pace. Why would anyone in God's name want to play something like Winter Express while Snoop Dogg is having a concert on Fortnite and Marvel just dropped an incredibly polished Overwatch competitor?
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't, I feel like all the other games you can't compare to Fortnite. Fortnite just has literally a blank fucking check, but Rivals kind of cooked.
Is continuing to lose market share among the casual audience. While
Wait, did he say polished for Rivals?
Play something like Winter Express while Snoop Dogg is having a concert on Fortnite and Marvel just dropped an incredibly polished Overwatch competitor.
Well, okay, I wouldn't I wouldn't agree with polished. I think Rivals is absolutely going the route of not being polished, actually. Okay, small tangent. Considering that they're going to drop 4 heroes in the first season, I don't know what their pace is. If they keep the same breakneck pace of putting out multiple heroes every new season, granted, it's a slightly longer cycle. If they keep doing that, there's no fucking way they can keep the game polished, quote unquote. It is not going to happen, even though they're probably working crazy hours because it's a Chinese developer and they probably, they do some shit, right? Like they make sure shit gets done in their own way. And so when that happens, it's okay because there's so much content flowing out and the game is meant to be a little silly and a little bit fun. And bands will always keep the ranked competitive side together, but the casual side, they kind of just want to They just want to have new shit and they want to have fun, exciting stuff. And it's okay if it's not super polished. And the game's engine's a great example, right? Like if you today took the problems that Rivals has had with like the frame issues and the ping issues and like with characters, right? And you put that in another game, like let's say you put it in Apex and you were like in Apex, if you have low FPS, you do less damage with your R301, people would go fucking bananas. But because Rivals is a brand new game, it's got that, that good faith so far, that goodwill. People are like, oh, they'll fix it. They'll fix it.
Apex Legends is continuing to lose market share among the casual audience while simultaneously
So not
alienating
polished.
its competitive audience. However, that leads into a harsh reality of Apex Legends. Apex wasn't supposed to exist in the first place. This is where we start to get into personal anecdotes, more opinionated arguments, and the drama I mentioned earlier. For those that don't know, Apex Legends was originally supposed to be Titanfall 3, but after the success of the Battle Royale genre, it changed during development to be Apex Legends, and the game was surprise released with essentially zero marketing. It was a complete Hail Mary.
I remember that.
On a very moderately successful
came out of nowhere.
Titanfall, to dip their toes in the new genre. What happened next was something EA could never have expected. The game absolutely banged far beyond anyone's expectations, raking in billions and billions of dollars even years after the release, which very likely would not have been the case for Titanfall 3. So that's great. The game did better than expected. That means they'll put more resources into building it even bigger. Well, unfortunately, in my opinion, Apex Legends is a huge victim of corporate America. You see, EA had two options after they caught lightning in a bottle with
I have my own experiences in this department.
Spawns Apex. They either take a risk and keep putting more work into it, hoping it'll grow even larger, or they sit on their fat stack of cash and collect an absolute boatload of money while keeping costs as low as possible. And as I'm sure you can probably guess, as time went on, they shifted way more towards the second one. The expected earnings of Titanfall 3 were absolutely blown out of the water with Apex, and I think this reality made its way down the management chain and severely affects the decisions that Respawn makes with Apex Legends. I've talked to countless Respawn employees from various departments over the years, ranging from art to security to map designers to game balancers to community managers, play testers, etc. And I have heard two gloomy phrases they've all repeated. We want to do blank, but we're not allowed, or all our suggestions fall on deaf ears, both of which imply one major problem. Upper management is either negligent, lazy, or has motives that do not align with the player's best interest.
I am not in the Apex circle in any way, shape, or form. But I can tell you from my own experiences, this is 1000% true. It is 1000% true. Look at me. Look me in the eyes. What game was I originally known for? What game am I known for? Where do you think one acquires such knowledge? Siege? Okay, I wasn't known for Siege. All right, you know what? Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's run with that.
Every Respawn employee I've worked with directly was absolutely dripping with talent and passion for the game, but they're being actively suppressed by the people above them on the totem pole, and it has been incredibly sad to listen to them slowly lose passion for the game, and most of them, quite frankly, sound like they've given up at this point, and it sucks to listen to.
If I speak, I'd be in trouble. If I speak, I'll be in trouble.
One final thing that I think really sealed the nail in the coffin for my love for Apex, and that's the active suppression of community-made content. Almost every game that has stood the test of time has had
true.
Minecraft is the most popular game of all time because you can literally do whatever you want. You can build anything you can imagine, and anything you can't build, you can easily mod into the game. Fortnite has a whole catalog of user-made maps with millions of players. Apex Legends has, like I said, actively suppressed all community-made content. There is a modded version of the Apex client where you can kind of sort of make stuff if you know what you're doing. Anyone that has any sort of involvement in this is literally shunned by Respawn. If you're an EA creator and you even talk about R5 Apex, you will be kicked out of the program. I tried hosting a $1,000 tournament in this modded version of the game, and I was handed a cease and desist by an EA lawyer in less than a week. Actually, it was probably more like 2 days, but I'm gonna say a week. And
not surprised in the slightest.
Of course, they have every right to do this. But the thing is, they're suppressing community-made content while simultaneously not releasing any of their own. It's no coincidence that the most watched and supported aspect of Apex is ALGS, because it is literally the only outlet for players to do something bigger than the game and create storylines and content that aren't
Red versus blue?
shackled to only trios and ranked and are twice a year new temporary game mode that usually sucks. They aren't making good content at the pace that's needed for them to compete with other titles. They won't let the community make their own content, and they won't make the game competitive. Not one person is shocked that the Apex Legends player count keeps reaching new all-time lows. And listen, I'm making this video out of passion. I absolutely love Apex Legends, and I will always have a soft spot for the Apex community and everything you've done for me. You've changed my life, you've changed my family's life, and I've always done my best to change other people's lives because of what you've done for me. I donated probably 30 high-end PCs to the community. I paid for people's trips to ALGS events. I've helped lots of community members with individual personal things, and that isn't even 1% of what you guys have done for me and everyone I know. My dad raised me while working 70 hours a week, and I got to pay off his car and his house the past few months. He'd be proud of me no matter what, but seeing the person I model myself after cry from how proud he is of me is something I can't even put into words. And it has nothing to do with me. You know, you guys chose me, you watch me, you support me. I didn't get to choose to be in this position. You guys picked it for me. Well, thank you. And I never wanted to make a video like this because the game has done so much for me. But I've realized it was never really about the game. It was about the community. And this video is kind of my final attempt to try and get things turned around for Apex so everyone can enjoy the game again. So thanks for watching.
I think that's the thing that's got me more with Overwatch still to this day than anything is the community. If it wasn't for all my... Let me finish this.
I'm not sure how much I'll play going forward. And sorry I read the emotional bit straight from the script I have here, but that's just because every time I've tried saying it on my own, I start bawling uncontrollably. Anyways, thanks for watching. And let me know what you think. And thank you.
Yeah, I feel that. The community is a big part of it. And hell, even the people who make the game is a big part of it. Like the actual people making the game. Yeah, that hurts. Because, like, you know, sometimes people always say the grass is always greener. You know, people always say the grass is always greener somewhere else, you know, doing something there. And that's why I really, really enjoy the arc we've got right now going with Rivals and how there's finally the first competitor ever to maybe give them a little push. But Fortnite is arguably the biggest competitor to Apex, both being battle royales, some of the biggest mainstream battle royales. And they don't even put up a fight to Fortnite. Not like you could win, but like they don't even put up a fight. Makes me a little bit I don't know, sad, but also like not as optimistic as maybe I once was.